So you clicked on this video and you're probably thinking, what is he talking about? And I'm not saying practice isn't important, but there's a skill aside from practicing that will determine if and how fast you'll improve. For example, if you try to learn a language, the most important part is actually when you stop learning and then you come back at a later point. And that's because learning happens when we go away from the thing we're trying to learn and your brain has time to process what we just did and what inputs we gave it, and then you can actually start to memorize, get all the muscle memory down, and then at a later point you come back and then you refresh and you see if you improved. So the skill I'm talking about is not just stopping to practice, but you can make it even more effective if when you stop to practice, you reflect. So practice without reflection, I would say, is just playing or like noodling around. But when we stop to practice and we actually start to think about, okay, what did I just do? Did I try to achieve what I set out to do in this practice session? How did I feel? What can I maybe improve next time to have a better practice session and to just make the practice more effective? Now, these are all things you can learn, and you just have to think about doing them until they become automatic. So this reflection process could be something like a little note on your phone. It could be something like a handwritten diary where you write down how you felt during your practice session and what you worked on. And this is to also keep you accountable to spend your practice time, because chances are you don't have as much time as you want. If you do, that's great. But for all of us who don't have infinite time, we have to spend our time efficiently, and we'd like to actually improve. Now, during practicing, and this can be, in your reflection for the next practice session, you set a goal. So when you're practicing, for example, like you're in a progression, and maybe it's this like one chord change here that's bothering you, then you may have said in your reflection, like, yeah, I tried to play this progression, it didn't go that smoothly, so this chord change kind of was always a problem. And then set the goal for the next practice session that I want to really nail this chord change, for example. And that's really the most important thing that you can do to actually improve when you practice, and how to spend your time on and away from the keyboard wisely. Now, another really important thing I recommend all of you do is to record yourself. So we all have a phone, we maybe have an iPad or a laptop, and you can use the recording function to get a bit of distance from the moment that you're playing and actually be able to reflect in a much better way. So it kind of works that you're in a way that you're your own piano teacher. So record yourself and then afterwards listen back and think about the things you try to do. Maybe you said, okay, I want to play this progression smoothly. I want to try and keep the tempo. I want to keep a steady, like a pattern. And then you can rewatch and think about, okay, was it really as smooth as I wanted it to sound and play? Or are there some things which I can improve and work on for the next time? And this is something that only happens once you're away from the piano, because while we're doing the music, we don't want to think too much, actually, right? So it's this kind of like problem, this paradox between when we play, we don't want to think too much and we want to feel the music. We want to immerse ourselves in the music and in the act of playing. But at the same time, we want to improve and think about what we're doing in a conscious way, because that's the only and best way to improve. So recording yourself solves this problem. Just put up your phone. And if you feel like, hey, when I record myself, I make lots of mistakes, I can't play anything, then I recommend just keep the camera running and just play for like 10-15 minutes. And at some point, you'll forget that the camera is there, and you'll just, have some good takes which are not influenced by your inability to play when you're being watched or recorded, and actually being able to listen to yourself and think, yeah, I played well, and now I can look at what to improve and what I want to do better next time. So here's my tip for you. Again, You will start to improve once you stop practicing, only if you do the right things. So when you do a practice session today, I want you to first of all set a goal during your practice session, and then, play. Maybe take like 2-3 minutes to record yourself at the end of the session. So for example, something you worked on, maybe you tried to play in a new key like A major. And then play a progression in that new key, something you learn. And then at the end of the session, I want you to record yourself and kind of keep a diary of sorts of what you worked on. And then that's something after you stop, you close the lid, you go away from the piano. First of all, I want you to know that that's when the learning process in your brain starts to happen. So all the mind-muscle connection, so you were thinking about, okay, I'm playing an A major chord and your hands do this. That's when the process of this connection starts to form. So first of all, know that this time is valuable away from the piano. And secondly, take the time to reflect on what you've just been doing. So reflect on your practice session. Think about, was I focused? How did I feel? Was I maybe a bit tense? Like, could I maybe do something about my posture? And then also look at the video you recorded. And just take a look at, did I achieve the things that I wanted to with the things I practiced? And also, what can I work for in the next session? So for example, one thing you could notice is like I'm playing this progression in A major. And I noticed when I switched from the F sharp minor to the D major chord, it kind of like, it wasn't that smooth. So I hesitated a little bit. And then maybe you didn't notice it while you were playing, but afterwards, when you listen back to the recording, that's when you can tell, oh yeah, that wasn't really that smooth as I maybe heard it in the moment. And then for the next practice session, set the goal of, okay, let me try this progression again and now really get this chord change down. So first thing you can do is just isolate this chord change, really go slow there, maybe do a little pattern. A great tip would also be, it always is, to use a metronome to support your practice and really have a clear measure for being smooth and fluid. And then also, again, incorporate into the progression, so play everything. And then you can even record yourself again and then watch the video and reflect, did the thing that I set out to improve actually improve? Now, to summarize this entire video, there's probably as much to learn about playing the piano as there is about learning how to learn the piano. So just be mindful about your practice, be conscious, reflect on your own playing, use all the great tools that we have available for that. And I hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you want to learn more about chord progressions, about all the things I played in this video, different progressions, different keys, how to do that, how to play chords and just be free on the piano with using them, then you should check out all the free courses I have made on that. It's the first link in the video description or in the pinned comment, and I'll see you guys again in the next lesson.